Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Today I'm going to review the Favre-Leuba Sea Sky Revival in the maroon-brown color. I'm having a really good time reviewing watches again in videos. I took a break for a couple of years really doing this. This is something that I used to do in addition to the written articles. Now, as I'm saying, that each of these video reviews is meant to be a supplement. Some of these reviews are done before I've done the written review, some at the same time, some long after. So this is sort of part of my review process. This watch, for example, I've been wearing on and off for a better part of the year. I had one, I didn't have one again, I have one. So there's been sort of this repeat history I've had with this watch. I keep coming back to it. So this review is as someone that's worn this in a lot of different circumstances, different periods of the year. And this is a watch that I've really come to enjoy. I remember the first time I saw this watch with Favre-Leuba. Favre-Leuba is a very old company which has sort of come back. And I was just speaking with the CEO, Patrik Hoffmann, and I referred to it as a hybrid brand. What do I mean by a hybrid brand? Well, the company is owned by a big, important group out of India, but it is a Swiss-made brand run kind of independently with a lot of autonomy in Switzerland. So it's not really an independent because it's clearly not owned by itself, but it's not corporate run in the traditional sense where there's some big, marketing team and CEO and managers that are telling them what to do and what to make and how to price things. So it's very interesting. I've seen the Favre-Leuba brand back in previous modern form. It's very, very different right now. It's sort of a retro revival in a lot of ways, but they also have some modern looking watches. This was part of the debut collection, and they had an original watch called the Sea Sky. That's why this is the Sea Sky Revival. And it's very similar. And at the time, just like today, blending different styles of sports watches was popular. So see kind of the popularity of dive watches. You can see this rotating bezel here. It's a unidirectional rotating bezel. So that's where the dive part comes in, or the sea part comes in. It is water resistant to 100 meters, so I wouldn't call it a full-on dive watch, but for recreational dives, sure, no problem. In the pool, no problem. Sky, well, pilot watches are also a very popular genre of sport watch. So in the 1970s especially, and today, blending a pilot watch, sometimes a racing watch, with a diver's watch was like a very hip thing to do. I don't necessarily know if they were meant for specific professionals that needed this, or it was just sort of popular thing with consumers. Doesn't really matter. These are tool style watches that were popular back then and are coming back today. There's sort of a Breitling-Esque sense to this. I wouldn't necessarily compare it to a specific Breitling model that they make today, but for me, growing up as a watch lover, a look like this kind of said Breitling. What does that mean? It meant this is definitely a lifestyle watch. Like, this looks handsome and it looks attractive, and it's meant to enhance someone's look if they're wearing it, but it's not overtly decorative. It doesn't specifically have a precious material or any type of whimsy to it. Like, it's kind of a serious look. This one, I think the color is really where it kind of shines. And they have more traditional colors if this kind of, reddish brown is not to your liking, though this totally does it for me. This version of the Sea Sky Revival in this color, I like this color a lot. And I think it's interesting because I've done some research to determine how consumers prefer colors. Like, what do they say they like versus what they're buying? And consumers like a brown watch, but you're not allowed to call it brown. The moment a consumer thinks that they're buying a brown watch, like, I don't want brown. I don't like that color. That doesn't look good on me. But if you call it something else, or they think of it as something else, like this is, again, I wouldn't call this brown. This is sort of, it's got a lot of red in it. So a maroon, a burgundy is a little bit more like that. But it wouldn't, again, it's still more brown than it is pure red. But I just find this fits a lot of the things I wear. This case is 40 millimeters wide in steel. It doesn't wear too small, but it doesn't wear too big. It's just over 15 millimeters thick. Inside the watch is an automatic movement made by Swiss Joux-Perret, and the movement is called the FLC01. It's an automatic chronograph. You can see it through the case back there. I believe it's column wheel controlled, and it has a 12-hour chronograph on the dial there. I don't think this one has a date. Yes, it's no date, which I prefer. The date just kind of adds an extra window that would cut away at 4:30 and no one would like it. And yes, having the date can be convenient from time to time, but as an enthusiast, you don't really want it. The bezel is ceramic. Well, the insert is, so that brown insert there is ceramic, and it comes in a few other colors. I think there's black, maybe blue, and maybe another color that Favre-Leuba currently makes for the various variations of the colors in the Sea Sky Revival. There's sort of a black one that also has this contrast look with these silver subdials, but this silver look with the brown is nice. It would actually be too expensive, but I believe that this watch with gold, I'm not sure exactly what shade of gold, maybe a rose gold or something, that would be really nice. Brown and gold is a very handsome look, but that would make for a very expensive timepiece, no doubt, especially given the price of gold today. But in steel, I think it looks very handsome. There you can see the movement there. There's the column wheel that's sort of a little bit blued, the gold-colored skeletonized automatic rotor. Joux-Perret does a nice job, I have to say. Given the price point and what else is out there, you get a fair amount of watch for the money. The strap, which is nice and padded, I love it. It comes on quick release spring bars. I think this is a 20 millimeter strap, and I actually want to put this strap on other things. I would get more of these straps if I could. So I have a lot of nice things to say about this Sea Sky Revival. It's not, I believe, Favre-Leuba's most popular watch. It does well in a jewelry store environment. They tell me they have more interesting shapes and some other stuff that they like to push, but I really kind of, found myself wearing this timepiece a lot. This is a really cool watch, the Favre-Leuba Sea Sky Revival. Some people felt the price was high. I think that's because Favre-Leuba is still a newly relaunched brand that's trying to assert itself, but when you compare it to a lot of the competition, it feels like a good deal. Retail price for the Favre-Leuba Sea Sky Revival is $4,950, and you can see the full review on the aBlogtoWatch.com website. Comment below and let me know what you think. Thanks.